Congo DR versus Benin in Group J for spot in the third round of African World Cup qualifiers, where Benin or Congo could be at 180 minutes away from qualifying for Qatar. They come up against each other. Congo DR would host the game. In terms of the head-to-head, this would be their second ever meeting. The first game ended in a draw. And that was their first ever meeting, as I mentioned, and it came in World Cup qualifiers. Hector Cooper, an Argentinian who took Egypt to the World Cup in 2018, is in charge of Congo DR, so he has the know-how. And for Benin, Mikel Dussoyer, the Frenchman, is in charge of the Squirrels. So in terms of form, Tanzania, 0, Congo DR 3, Benin 2, Madagascar 0. And Benin have done really well during World Cup qualifiers there, and they find themselves needing only a draw to qualify. From what I've seen from this Benin team, I think they got what it takes, because Congo DR have been very, very inconsistent. Those draws, it's like how they managed to drop points in those games. I can't quite wrap my head around it, because they were quite dominant in most of their games, and they still ended up being on 8 points, 2 points behind Benin, who I never fancied to come this far, or even be on top of the group at this point in time. But Congo did drop points to Benin, and that's after scoring first in the game. And they've just been very, very, inconsistent, man. And they got to do a lot better. I can remember back in for the 2018 World Cup, they were in a prime position to actually get ahead of Tunisia, but in the final two games, they lost and drew the games. The game against Tanzania, they were up 1-0. Drop points from a winning position again. So they got to cut that out, man. They got to cut that out. They did bounce back well in October against Madagascar and beat Tanzania last Thursday. But they would need to get the better of Benin this time around. A draw won't suffice. And for this one, I am going for the game to also end in a draw 1-1. I know it might sound boring, but I don't think Benin are going to give this up, man. This is a historic moment for Benin. And in terms of their football and everything, they have some quality players. Steve Mounier comes to mind. He's the most famous player from their squad. He used to play in the Premier League and all. And he really dominated in French football for some time. I know there might be some other standout players, but I don't know the Benin team very, 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 very well. Another standout player is Cedric Hutunje, who plays for Toulouse. That's a player I know as well. But Congo DR, they got the more well-known players. You might say they look better on paper, but even though they're at home and they have Hector Cooper in charge, I think they're going to draw the game, and Benin, they're going to advance. I like the way things are shaping up right now with these underdog teams like Mali, South Africa. You have a Benin who could go through. You even have a Burkina Faso who could potentially upset Algeria. You have Cape Verde who could upset Nigeria. And African World Cup qualifiers is very, very exciting right about now. Let's not act like it's not exciting. We have Equatorial Guinea who could get the better of Tunisia in the group. So, you have Cameroon, Ivory Coast coming up. This is nice, man. This is really, really nice. And I'm glad it's shaping up to be just so. And the third round would be fantastic as well. That's coming up in 2022.